Live. All right, everybody, welcome back to United Kings. This is May the 25th, 2024, and Manchester United, about 10 hours ago, won the 2024 FA Cup. And I can't overstate for you how important this game was. Okay? From two different perspectives. One, from the perspectives of Man United fans. So we've had to deal with about 9 months of shit. Let's be completely real. The past 9 months have been an abomination. They've been terrible. They've been awful for a lot of reasons. We've had to sit through results like 4-0 to Crystal Palace, like 3-0 to Man City, let me even think, the Burnley game, the various Bournemouth smashings, even the Arsenal game when we blew it at the end of the game early in the season. The Brighton game comes to mind. The Newcastle thrashing in the Carabao Cup. There hasn't been that many highs this season. But one thing has remained constant, and that's that we've watched all these games because we're fans. And it was important. It was very important for the fans, for these players, and the manager to go out there in the last game of the season, which we fought for, the opportunity to play in that game. It was very important for them to go out there and have a performance. To win against the best team in the world, out of this world. Out of this world. So from the fans' perspective, I just want to say that is probably our reward from these players and the manager. They owed that to us. And what a day it was. But I don't necessarily want to talk about it from the fans' perspective. Me and my guys, we were buzzing down the local. We were absolutely going off. It was unbelievable. But I mainly want to focus on this from the perspective of Erik Ten Hag, the United manager, because this guy just pulled off one of the biggest I'm him performances I've ever seen in my life. So, as we know, worst injury crisis we've ever had this year. We got players like Antony, Greenwood, Sancho, Rashford pulling some bullshit, off the field nonsense, whatever. And let's be honest, we've had a transfer window in the summer where basically the manager has received one signing because Mason Mount didn't play all year. Might as well not have been here this year. Should have signed him this summer on a free. Sofian Amrabat, we'll talk more about him later, essentially didn't play all year. So those are two key signings in key positions that didn't really have an impact on the team this year. And then we had Rasmus Højlund, who is my top 3 favorite players on this team, absolutely unbelievable player, and is going to really do great things next year and did great things this year in the limited opportunities he got. But let's be honest, he was not getting service and he was not in a lot of these games. So you're just left with a goalkeeper who he struggled. And I know these are Ten Hag signings, but we were supposed to get a center back cover. We instead got Johnny Evans on a free. We're supposed to get left back cover. They sent him back in January. And let's just talk about that for a second, because these new owners who want to sack the manager after that today, get a grip, man. Get a fucking grip. They sent their first thing that they did when they walked in this club was they sent Sergio Reguilon back to Spurs. His one left back option. They sent him back to Spurs. They basically said, hey, Eric, we're walking in. We're supposed to be the promised land. We're supposed to be the land of milk and honey, all right? We're supposed to be the boys, okay? What the first thing they do? They sent back one of his key players who were starting Champions League games for us against Bayern Munich in the group stages. So does that seem like a group of owners who are ambitious that want to back you? No, it doesn't. And let's be honest. Let's be honest about this whole thing. Ineos wanted Ten Hag to fail because what they wanted is They wanted none of their fingerprints on this terrible season as it was going at that time. They said, hey, Erik, you know what? We got our own ideas about how this thing's going to go. We're going to make you the fall guy. We're going to not back you in January. We're not going to put out any public statements about your future, securing your future, whether it's parting or whether it's staying. We're going to not put anything out. We're going to let these journalists run wild with bullshit stories about Southgate, about De Zerbi, about Potter, about Kieran McKenna, about all these guys, okay? We're going to have that. We're going to let that go. All right. Even when you're finding form in February, which let's not forget about that. When our players came back in February, we found form and we were looking good. Okay. Even when that's happening, nothing. No backing whatsoever. To the point where a week before an FA Cup final, as we're again picking up momentum, the news drops that Man United have had talks with McKenna about replacing Ten Hag and that Ten Hag is going to be sacked. Now, these are rumors that are coming out every which way. The club is leaking like the Titanic in 1917, bro, or whenever it was. Absolute waterfall the way this thing was leaking, bro. Right before a cup final. Do those seem like competent owners to you, or do they seem like owners who are absolute traitors? Do they seem like owners who were hanging the manager out to dry? That's what it looks like to me. And so we're faced with, more so Ten Hag's faced with, and the players are faced with, the absolutely Herculean task of beating the best team in the world, managed by the best manager in the world, with the best players in the world, at Wembley after they had just won 4 leagues in a row. You know, unstoppable juggernaut team that barely anybody has been able to stop this year. And we've been smashed by them twice already. Okay? We're tasked with beating them in a cup final off the back of news 24 hours ago that the manager's getting sacked. Okay? Who wants to play if a manager's... Who would ever want to play if that's happening? All right? You expect the players to down tools. You expect the players not to be engaged. You expect the manager not to be engaged. But that's not what happened at all. Even though these reports made his job about 10 times harder winning this game, he still decided to put out a very ballsy lineup. The sort of midfield diamond thing with Bruno in the false nine, Højlund on the bench, and bringing Rashford in over Ahmad, that was a very controversial call. I supported it. I said all throughout in the build-up to this week, I'm playing Rashford in this game because his pace behind can exploit the high line. And mainly because he has a good record against City in these big games. But I didn't think he'd actually do that. I think he would just stick with the lineups that we saw against Brighton and Newcastle where Ahmad was in, and we would bring Højlund off the bench as an impact sub. Amrabat in. Look, Casemiro, 4-time Champions League winner. Not even on the bench. Not even on the bench. Not even in the squad, man. Leaving him out. Unbelievable. But what did we have today, which we didn't have all season? Varane and Martinez. Varane and Martinez. I'm telling you right now, when Varane and Martinez play, we're a completely different team. And this is what these boneheads who were Ten Hag out, this is what they never understood. How the hell are you supposed to how are you supposed to play dynamic football when you got Lindelof and Evans at the back who got to sit at the edge of their box and defend the entire time? How are you supposed to get the center backs involved in the build-up at all when you got people who have to sit back because they're going to get exploited for pace if they're not in their own third? I mean, that's how this works. But these guys don't understand anything, okay? So they're not going to look that deep. They're just going to say, oh, we want the manager out. We want the manager out. They don't watch games. Let's be honest. So we have Varane and Martinez back. Very bold lineup. Go into the game. Decent lineup from City. Not a bad lineup at all, okay? We got the player of the year there. I'm not having any of that. This was a strong team from City. After 30 minutes, it's 0-0. We're expressing ourselves well. We're getting on the ball. We're stringing together some possession. And Delot hits a long ball over the top to Garnacho. Vardiol manages to miscontrol it. Ortega shows the fact that he's a second choice goalie. No communication there. Garnacho taps it into an empty net. We're going bonkers, but this is really just the time when we're saying, oh, we scored early. Let's see if we can hold on. From that moment, we start playing incredible for the rest of the half. We're carving them up unbelievably well. The midfield's running the show. Amrabat having the game of his life. Kobe Mainu having the game of his life. Bruno Fernandes having the game of his life. Rashford hits a ball, switch play over to Garnacho. Garnacho plays a ball into Bruno. Bruno with a brilliant no-look one-timer into Mainu with a very accomplished finish. That's 2-0. At this point, we're all going berserk. I mean, this is just – we did not think that this was even possible. And this is the moment when I thought, I'm like, okay, these are two players here that are Ten Hag players. These are probably his two biggest guys, Kobe Mainu and Alejandro Garnacho. These are the two players in the 2 years here that he's brought through to be our stars, and they've both delivered for him. Sofyan Amrabat hasn't played minutes at all this year. No minutes at all this year. Some say Ten Hag's mistreated him. What did he do? He fought for the manager. Lisandro Martinez, Rafael Varane hardly played a lot, and Martinez hasn't played all year. Okay? He could be worrying about his health. He could be worrying about his health, getting ready for the Argentina squad. Varane could be worrying about his next club. No, they put in a shift, absolutely locked down Haaland. Man of the match contenders. Wan-Bissaka, people say he down tools. What'd he do? Locked up Doku today for the most part. Vardiol as well. Played for the manager. Delot, we know he's going to play for the manager. Bruno Fernandes played for the manager and for the club. Unreal captain's performance. Rashford played for the manager. Garnacho, Mainu, they were playing. Okay, McTominay playing for the manager, limping off the pitch. Even if he didn't do that much, he was decent, brought an element of physicality, was a good target man, played his socks off. Who am I forgetting? I think I've run through the whole team now. Onana, incredible. All throughout the board. These players. Rasmus Højlund, probably upset to get dropped, fought for the manager when he came on. Okay? This Johnny Evans, unreal. The entire team played well, and they fought. And you want to know what that tells me? That tells me that Erik Ten Hag is the man that they want. Erik Ten Hag is the man that they want. He's got the buy-in from these players when they know it's his last game. Okay? So that's element one. Element two, the tactics were spot on because bringing Rashford into this game, he was an outlet the entire time. It worked perfectly. Pep was playing the ridiculously high line with Ake and Stones and all them. It was just constantly under threat. We were always hitting the long balls. They were working. It kept them honest. It worked twice. We had a third goal that was ruled out offside, but it scared the shit out of them because what was not allowing them to express themselves in any sort of way because they always had to worry about the pace of Rashford over the top. And to me, once the game started shifting into, the 60th, 70th minute where we had to become compact, Martinez came off, I think, with an injury. Hope he's all right. Compressed, defended very well. We gave up a pretty dodgy goal at the end with Onana. Probably should have saved it. But look, that midfield was resolute. They defended very well. And I gotta say, the reason why I'm focusing on the midfield is because I really think that's them. I think the midfield of Amrabat, Mainu, McTominay, Bruno, I think they just absolutely bossed it today. And in particular, I just want to say Amrabat, unbelievable from Ten Hag bringing Amrabat into this game. This dude has not played at all this year. He introduces him for the Arsenal game, starts him, and plays well. He's played well. He did not have a good performance against Brighton last week. Didn't matter. Ten Hag brings him in, drops the legend Casemiro, and look what it did. But these are the bold calls that you have to make when you're managing at the top level. And Ten Hag has showed today that he's able to do that. And guess what? He showed it all last season too. Remember when Weghorst was playing into 10 and that worked? Okay, remember when he dropped Ronaldo? Remember when he let Sancho go off on holiday, brought him back, and he scored? Ten Hag is an unbelievable manager. He's unbelievable. He's been hampered by the fact that he's been hung out to dry by these snake-ass owners and these people who don't have any money to spend, and also the fact that we've had the scumbag-ass medical department, bro. We've had so many things working against his favor, and he brings this moment to us today. If you are Erik Ten Hag out after this performance, and look, he'll probably get sacked. Let's be honest, because we've got owners who think they know best. We got owners who think they're geniuses, even though they ruined their cycling team, even though they ruined their sailing team, even though they had one good season with Nice in the French league, which I could play in because that's the quality of that league. Um, I don't, I don't. If they sack Erik Ten Hag, and look, I was Ten Hag in before this game. I was Ten Hag in after the Palace game. Okay, McKenna's a good coach, and I would back him if he came to United. But you got to stick with this. You can't not reward success. You can't not reward silverware. And let's just call this what it is. 2 trophies in 2 years. Better than Arteta. Better than Sir Alex Ferguson's start at Man United. I mean, this is serious stuff. Give him the next year. He's got a 3-year deal. Give him the next year. See how it works. I guarantee you, if you give him the signings that he needs, we'll be in the top 4. Not saying we're fighting for a title, but we will be comfortably in the top 4, as we would have been this year. I mean, who's going to tell me based on that performance today? We had Barrett and Martinez for 1 game and we beat Man City like that. You're telling me we wouldn't have been above Aston Villa, who are getting smashed 5-0 by Crystal Palace, having Mateta score 3 on them? You kidding me? I mean, I just don't see the end game with sacking Erik Ten Hag. I don't get it. I don't get what the point would be. These players here, they gave us one of the moments that I'll never forget. I mean, celebrating with my sister in that bar, all my friends, like, yo, you can't, if you're the owners of this club, you can't get rid of that. You can't just erase that. If you bring McKenna in, is he going to deliver those moments? No. We don't know. But let's stick with what we got right now. The devil is always better. And look, if he turns out to be a bum next year, sack him. But look, he's not going to, because he's a good coach. He brought Ajax to the Champions League semifinal, won a trophy basically every year in Holland, won the league like 4 times in a row, and has won a trophy at United. He's won a trophy in the past like 10 years that he's been a manager. Just keep him, man. I don't understand. And keep Amrabat too. Keep Amrabat too. I have to say that. Keep Amrabat too. But that's been, that was a rough season. That was a rough season for sure. And he's got to take some responsibility for that. Picking Rashford all these games, I didn't agree with it. But, not playing Ahmad, I didn't agree with it. Persevering with Antony, didn't agree with it. But he dropped Antony in the end. He is proving to be adaptable, and he was adaptable last year. People got short-term memories, man. I don't know. I would not sack this manager, and I implore Ineos and I implore the Glazers to just have a little bit of sense here. Save $15 million, that's the payout for him, and the $5 million that you got to pay Ipswich to get McKenna. And just keep with this project, or else we're going to start protesting. But that's it. Let's now shift gears into the transfer window. Let's get some clarity on the manager situation. Just want to say that was an incredible moment for United, and looking forward for many, many more moments to that under this manager with these players. Unbelievable. Let's hope Ineos reward success. As always, United Kings, Brooks Kingston, signing out. Ready for the transfer talk of the 24-25 season. Let's do it. Peace.